All right, let's hit some calls of the day here, shall we? Julie, I'm zeroed in on a note from Citi following day one of its global tech conference. Really interesting note, roundup note by the folks over at Citi, led by Chris Danley. We mentioned him earlier on in the show in his meeting or his dinner with Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger, calling out a couple things. One, some fraying at the edges. That's what Danley says with respect to NXP Semiconductor, Texas Instruments most notably, noting that updates at the conference from these companies were positive, but he did notice some signs of concern, notably with NXP, about sales weakness in Europe and a little bit less product shortages. Texas Instruments talking about the potential impact of China's shutdowns, and Avnet, that's another one mentioned here, AVT, mentioning declines in lead times and backlog moderating. So some mixed commentary on that front, but sounding a lot more positive on GlobalFoundries, potentially looking for a release from the company over the next day or two, lifting its guidance. Interesting.
I mean, there's so many notes coming out on some of these right now on all this stuff. I've got an interesting note on Pivotal that I'm watching, my call of the day, that you actually flagged for me. It's on Roku. Pivotal Research upgrading the media company to hold from sell. This is a really tepid upgrade, I have to say, in terms of the enthusiasm. So basically, the analyst says, shares have reached a level that we view as properly balancing risk-reward. We would take profit on short positions. They say recent encouraging news on inflation making a soft landing more realistic could be positive for Roku. But at the same time, they list a bunch of negatives having to do with Roku here, that it's getting hit materially harder than advertising peers, that the ad environment is going to get worse before it gets better. The company's spending more money on things like R&D and sales and marketing. Results for at least the next 6 months are likely to be, frankly, mediocre.
Wow.
All of that said, I guess it's priced in to some degree that pretty negative outlook coming here from Pivotal.
So, sounds like a resounding upgrade there. Sounds very confident. Now, real brief, I'll add this too. A couple of days I caught up with Roku CFO Steve Loudon. I think there's they're going through some stuff right now. I think they have to get their expenses under control. They have to start regrowing that subscriber base in this post-pandemic world. So interesting upgrade over there for sure.